Studies have shown that yoga is so great in the mind-body connection and how we perceive our quality of life after doing the practice. And many studies have shown that yoga is a very successful way to shift attitude and shift perceived stress. I don't know about you, but I come to the yoga mat so frequently just to work things out for myself. If I'm in a snarl over something, the yoga mat is the place to come to. And unlike many practitioners, I like to come to the mat and start lying down. Just by having support of the spine, it so brings me right into the practice. So this practice includes a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's not a practice that focuses on any specific part of the body, but works to create more clarification of that mind-body connection for yourself. We'll start lying down. Many practitioners like to start their yoga practice in a lot of sun salutes, but for me it works best to start lying down, to start feeling very grounded. So with your knees bent and your feet planted, close your eyes and bring your hands to your low belly. And many of these more scientific approaches to look at the yoga influence on the mind and body connection. The studies always include breath work, pranayama, and of course the physical asanas, and also some meditation. So use this time to focus on the breath. Bring your attention to the low belly area with just a little pressure of your hands. Just kind of notice how the in-breath just expands and lifts the low belly area, and with your hands, your fingertips, you can just help draw from the navel back toward the spine on the exhale. Just noticing the fullness of movement that the expansion on the in-breath of the diaphragm, the respiratory diaphragm, just moves the organs, and you just feel the effects of that movement all the way down to the pelvic area. And move your hands just to the mid-thoracic area. Just give a little pressure to pushing the ribs in toward the midline on the exhale. And on the inhale, just feel the expansion of the low ribs into the palms of the hands. As if helping to guide the breath with the hands, with that sensation of fullness on the in-breath. And with the out-breath, you're just letting go completely. And when you study this, the in-breath with this tactile approach, you notice how you're able to create a little bit more of a pause between the in-breath and the out-breath, and the out-breath and the in-breath. And you tend to expand the duration of the inhale and the exhale just by taking your attention to it. Now take your hands all the way up to the collarbone, and once again, just give a little pressure in the upper chest area. So on the exhale, it's almost like you're trying to squeeze the hands in toward each other. On the inhale, You feel this full expansion in the palms of the hands. Just stay attuned to your breath. So that you start your practice with this felt sense that you've centered yourself. Your spine is so supported by the floor. And you're just taking this gaze inward. The gaze is to the expansiveness that you feel on the in-breath, through that movement of the respiratory diaphragm, drawing down toward the pelvis, and on the exhale breath, where you feel this lifting quality of the diaphragm, where the navel draws back toward the spine. Now come to what feels like a very free and natural breath with your hands just to your sides, your palms facing up. And on its own power, lift your right leg up and just draw your right knee over toward the right side as far as it feels practical. And now draw your knee over toward the left side. Keep your foot active, your right foot in a nice dorsiflexion. Do that a few more times. Draw over to the right and draw way over to the left. Just have this nice easy movement. Reach your right leg up in the air, then draw your toes down toward your chest. Spread your toes. Externally rotate the whole leg and draw over to the right side. Lift your right leg up. Internally rotate your foot and the whole leg and draw just slightly over to the left without letting the right hip lift. And take the foot back to the center position and bend your knee to release down. With both knees bent, with your feet planted, get a nice lifting quality to your chest. So you feel a little space between the low back and your mat. Now with the left knee bent, draw the left knee up toward your ribs. Do that external rotation, internal rotation, external rotation, internal rotation. And just compare. That's what the yoga practice really teaches a lot about the left side, the right side, as we compare and contract these actions. Now take your left leg straight up. Engage your left foot, draw the toes down. Externally rotate the whole leg, draw over to the left side without tilting the pelvis. Lift your leg up, internally rotate the whole leg, and draw over to the right side without lifting the pelvis on the left side. Now come back to the center position and release your foot down to the mat. Take your feet together, your knees wide apart, lift your pelvis up. And enjoy a nice fullness to the chest. A lot of times if you bend your elbows, you can just get even more lift to the upper chest. Release down. So after doing a few things on the back in the supine position, I like to slowly come toward standing pose. So first, just come to a tabletop position with your toes tucked under. Reach back with your hands reaching forward. Draw a little bit more weight to your heels. Release your head down. Now come up to tabletop position again. With your toenails pressing, draw your pelvis down and bend your elbows. Do that a few more times. Just lift up, just a little movement here to engage the legs, especially bringing awareness to your feet and ankles. Come forward, way forward. Shoulders are even forward of your wrists as you bend your elbows. Draw your thighs down. Come back to a tabletop position, toes tucked under, reach back. Since it's your third time in this position, see if you can use your hands a little bit more firmly to bring the pelvis back toward the heels. Come to all fours position, shoulders forward, elbows bent, toenails planted. Draw your heart forward with the elbows bent so the shoulder blades hug in. Come back to all fours position. Reach your right arm up toward the sky. Thread it right under your left armpit and reach your head down. Again, do that. Take your right arm up and maybe slightly back. Thread it underneath the left armpit. And again, inhale, lift up. Exhale, so you get a little bit more attunement to the sides of the body. Come back to all fours position. Tuck your toes under. Lift up to downward facing dog. And that compare and contrast action, like just noticing how the right side ribs now compare to the left side. Maybe you feel a little bit more elongation on the right side than the left side. Just notice that about the practice. That's the great thing about using yoga as an intervention. It's really a way to connect and reconnect to that mind-body awareness. Come to all fours position. Lift your left arm up and reach it through. Reach up, maybe even back a little bit more and reach through. And again, lift up and reach through. Come back to all fours position. Step your hands a little bit taller than all fours and lift up to downward facing dog. Find a comfortable position in downward facing dog and bend your knees in that position. With your knees bent, just reach your pelvis over to the right, to the left. We're continuing that lengthening of the side body, the right side, the left side. Just back and forth. Come back to the center with both knees bent. Reach your right heel now and straighten your right leg. Bend the right knee. Straighten the left leg. Bend the left knee. Look forward, come toward a plank position and lower yourself to the mat. Once on the mat, interlace your fingers, tuck your toes under, lift your pelvis up. Exhale, take the thighs down, pubic bone down, draw your heart forward, lift the pelvis up, draw the top of the thighs down, pubic bone, reach your heart forward. One more time, lift the thighs up. Now take them down and reach your heart forward. Come to a Sphinx position and continue that action of reaching your heart forward. Now with your forearms pressing down, do that same action of lifting the navel up. Now drawing the thighs down and the heart forward. Two more. Lift up and draw down. Heart reaches forward. And again, lift up and reach forward. Now take your right forearm at a diagonal, make a fist with it. Come over to your right side and bend your knees. Press the outside of your right foot with your hand right at the pelvis. Lift up and draw down. I like keeping the knees bent, but for some of you, you might be super strong and really want to engage more, so you can straighten your legs, lift the pelvis up, and draw down. If you straighten your legs, really press down through the pinky toes side of the foot and come down. Come to the opposite side. I like making a fist because it engages the arms so much nicer. Lift the pelvis up, draw down, lift up and down, and lift up and down. Come down to your belly. Reach your hands straight back with the palms on the floor and rise up. Release down. Two more times. Lift up and draw down. And one more. Lift up and down. Reach your right arm forward. Roll over to your right side. Bend your left knee. Hold on to the shin or the top of the foot or ankle and lightly roll over to your belly again and rise up and release down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Have your left arm forward. Roll over to your left side. Bend your right knee. Hold on to the shin, the foot, the ankle. Lightly roll to your belly. Rise up. Draw down. Lift up and draw down. And rise up and down. Come back to all fours position. Take your knees nice and wide apart. Inner big toes together. Reach your pelvis back. Take this time to pause. To bring your awareness to the back body. Step your hands toward the right side. with the left palm over the right. Breathe to expand through the left side ribs more fully. See if you can make the left hand slightly taller than the right. Shift your hands back to the center position. And again, compare the sides in this yoga intervention where you just constantly bring your awareness back to the physical body. Notice how that affects the mind so fully. You start to sense the ease, more natural ease to the breath, a little bit more clarity and focus. Walk your hands over to the left side. Stack your right palm on top of your left. Reach your right hand a little bit further, a little bit taller than the left. Come back to the center position. And walk your hands back toward your knees. And as you're ready, come up to a standing pose. So as you can see, we've spent a lot of time really close to the earth to put us in this place where we're ready for a little bit more action in our practice. Come to the front of the mat and stand tall. Take your arms up and slightly back. Take your hands down to the floor. Step your right foot back. Keep your right hand where it is. Take your left hand to your low back and twist. Reach your left arm up and over. Release your hand down. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to low back and rise up. Reach up and reach back. Take your hands to the mat. Step your left leg back. Keep your left hand where it is. Right hand to the low back. Twist. Reach your right arm up and over. Release your hand down. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to the low back. Rise up. Reach up and back. Release your hands to the mat. Step your right foot back. Bring your right knee to the earth and draw yourself into a low lunge. And if you feel like your knee could use a little bit of padding, be sure to provide that. You can come either to a twist, turning toward that knee, maybe even go deeper by lifting up the back foot. And release the foot down. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to the low back. Rise up. Reach up, reach back. Hands to the mat. Step your left foot back. Bring the knee down. Hands to right above the knee. Settle deeper in the pose. Come to a twist. Take your left hand down. Lift your back foot up if you're feeling it. If you're feeling like it's time for a stretch of the back thigh. Release your foot down. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands to the low back and rise up. Step wide. For some people, moving in a rapid flow works in their practice. But for myself, the mind-body connection feels so much more accessible when I slow the practice down. And the benefit is you get more strength with a slower practice. Turn your right toes out. Bend your knee. Lift your arms. Come to Vira 2. That is a slower practice with longer and stronger holds. Really builds that strength. So keep this engagement from the feet. You're pulling in. From the fingertips, you pull into the midline. From there, reach back, take your right arm over. And take your right forearm to the top of the right thigh. Reach your left arm up and over. Just enjoy fullness of breath and experience how that shifts the practice in the pose, the mind in the body. Straighten your right leg, reach down, come to a nice triangle pose. Slowly rise up to come out of the triangle pose. Come to the opposite side. Bend your right knee. Create fullness in the pose. Fullness through that engagement, that hugging into the midline. Draw back. With the right hand, slide down the leg. With the left hand, reach back. Now take the forearm down to the top of the thigh. Reach your right arm over your head. Enjoy your breath. Straighten your front leg. Reach your right arm up. Inhale, rise up. Parallel your feet. Maybe a shorter, slightly shorter stance. With your knees bent, take your hands right at the shin bones and pull the feet in toward the midline. Strong action of the legs. Keep pulling in and draw your heart a little bit closer to the mat without feeling like you're rounding the upper spine. A strong pulling in of the inner shin bones against the strength of the arms, pushing out. And now slowly rise up to come out of the pose. With your right foot forward, with the left foot back, with your hip points toward the front of the mat this time. Draw your heart down toward the front leg. Inhale, rise up. Now let's do a little bit of shoulder action first. Take an elbow frame. The right arm under the left arm. Bow forward. Don't go too deep to see if you can get just a nice engagement of the back leg as you draw yourself deeper into the pose. Now inhale and rise up. Make fists with your hands. Reach your right arm up. Reach your right fist and your left fist behind you and draw forward. And inhale, lift yourself up from the strength of the back leg. Release your hands and step your left foot forward. Step your right foot back. Parsvottanasana, straight leg pose, where first we start with the hands to the hips. Take our attention to the back heel, pressing in as you draw the heart forward. Try to keep the spine in as neutral form as possible. Before rising up, make an elbow frame with the left forearm closer to the mat than the right. With the heads of the arm bones drawing back, draw it down. But have a sense that through the anchored quality of the right foot, you can lengthen from the pelvis to the crown of the head. Root down to rise up out of the pose. Release your hands down. Make fists. Take your left arm up. Reach your right hand back. Bend your elbows. See if you can take your fists a little bit closer on this cycle and draw down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, release your hands and step wide on your mat. Turn your toes out. We're coming to a squat, and so if this is too wide for you, then narrow your stance quite a bit. As you bend your knees and draw yourself into a squat, maybe you can hold the squat as you press your inner knees toward your upper arms. A similar action to what we were doing in the wide stance before. Really strong action of both the legs and the arms before drawing your pelvis down to the mat lightly. Take your left foot to the right hip. Take your right foot toward the left hip. Interlace your fingers underneath your right leg. And in that same way we've been doing, press the leg down as you lift with your hands the leg up. So nice, strong, isometric action. So keep that and draw forward and slightly down. Really strong action in the legs here. And rise up. Now plant your right foot just to the outside of the left knee. Take hold of the Left knee, just hug in. Have this be a very accessible twist for you. Just give yourself some time in the twist. And as you're ready, just take your right hand somewhere close to the pelvis. And maybe you can encourage yourself to go a little bit deeper in the twist. Keep your right leg where it is and reach your left arm up. Take the left elbow to the outside of the right knee, if that's accessible to you. Use your right hand to get length, to draw more forward on your sits bones. Now shift your way out of the pose. And take your right heel back to where you started with the right heel by the left hip. Just bow forward again. Rise up. Cross your legs the opposite way with the right shin down, the left foot just to the outside of the right hip. Interlace your fingers and do that lifting action of the left knee, but resist. Have the leg be really strong and draw into the interlaced hands. Sit tall. Keep that action. And now slowly bend your elbows, draw down, but keep a strong action in this pose. Inhale, rise up. Strengthen the leg the whole way. And now place the left foot to the outer right knee. Hug in toward the left leg. Pause. Make your way toward a little deeper twist by freeing your left hand and planting it just behind the pelvis. Press down to get length and come more forward on your sits bones. Free your right arm as well. Reach it up. Now take the right elbow just to the outside of the left knee. Open your chest. Open the palm of the hand. Reach it back toward your leg. Some of you might even find it accessible to grab hold of the inner ankle, whatever works for you. Release now out of the pose. Let's do something similar as we lie on our back. So bend your knees as you lie down. Take your right thigh over your left. Lift your feet up off the mat. Take your feet nice and wide apart. Lift your head up. Grab hold of your shins and see if you can create this Texas Longhorn, they call it. With the ankles in dorsiflexion, reach your toes toward the front part of the mat. Release your feet down. Now tuck your right ankle behind your left ankle. Take your arms in this cactus pose with your palms open. Take your right knee just slightly toward the left side. Lift your knees back and unwind the legs to plant your feet. Take your left thigh over the right. Lift your feet up off the floor and just take the feet as wide apart as they'll go on their own. Lift your head up and grab some part of your shin bone or your feet and reach the toes forward. Shins are going toward parallel to the mat. Keep working the legs in such a way that you get a nice engagement. Reach forward. Wrap the left ankle behind the right. Take the arms in cactus pose. Draw the left knee toward the right side. Lift the knees up. Unwrap the legs. Take the feet together, the knees wide apart. Take your elbows close to your ribs. Palms face each other with the elbows bent. Lift your chest. Lift the pelvis. Release your pelvis down. Release your arms. Extend your legs. Use this time in Shavasana to assimilate the actions, the comparisons you made on the right side and the left side. What you discovered about your own body. Close your eyes. Bring your awareness to the sound of your breath. To a softness on the outer body, and yet a brightness on the inner body just through the breath. Give yourself this time to reflect on the practice, to assimilate the actions. To more fully understand that mind-body connection that the yoga practice brings to you. Thank you for joining me in this customized yoga intervention. May your practice bring you greater and greater awareness of the importance of the mind-body connection. Namaste.